And on this episode of Behind the Ambu, we're going to talk about the Big Bang. Yep, 4th of July is coming, folks, and we have to be prepared for events like fireworks and people like me turning our gas grills into incendiary devices. Yeah, I thought I would get a start on the barbecuing for the day by getting my grill warmed up and ready to go a little bit faster than they tend to go. So I decided that dumping some lighter fluid into that grill before I tossed my Bic in there was a really good way to go, and it went ballistic. So while we're here, we're going to talk about the assessment tools and strategies that we manage blast injury patients and burn folks. And our guest stars tonight are Shannon and Krista.
So when a patient comes in with a blast injury, the first thing we'll look for on their head and neck is the amount of burn and where the burn is. We'll look for singed eyebrows, singed nose hairs, singed around the lips, or soot in the mouth, or any swelling or any type of sound such as stridor. If we hear any of those, we'll want to go ahead and intubate. When we intubate, we're going to use tool tape instead of our regular adhesive pads so that it doesn't bond to the skin. A lot of times when EMS comes in, they'll have either IV tubing or oxygen tubing wrapped around in the tool tape fashion. We'll want to change that out so there's no bonding to the skin and it doesn't rough the skin up even more. When we tool tape, we'll tool tape with a slip knot at the front and a bow on the side so that way we can adjust due to swelling up or down.
We also put the bow on the side so it's easier for the patient to extubate themselves. So anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about the physics of how blast injury occurs. Blast injury basically means that some sort of an explosive event has created a percussive air wave running from said explosive device to an air-filled structure in the body, which is either the lungs, the gut, or the ear. Voila! So an explosive, percussive, and often very hot wave of air has gone from the explosive event to the air-filled structure. We often refer to this as blast wind, which is usually a superheated wave of very high velocity air moving toward the person who is the victim of the injury. Some of the things that we're going to see and when we're talking the etiology of the blast injury, those air-filled structures, i.e. the middle ear, the gut, and the lung, there will be rupturing. The surface, the mucosa is often damaged or evulsing. You'll see petechiae. The endothelium is often visibly traumatized. Some of the stuff that we're getting ready to do is respiratory care in the trauma, and during the trauma itself, is we're trying to rev up for the possibility that this is indeed going to become an ARDS patient. Some of the findings when you're talking about assessment, again, we've talked a little bit about what we see in the airway victim of this kind of event. We also will see on chest films the classic presentation known as the butterfly pattern, which is basically butterfly-shaped opacity seen over both lungs. We need to look forward to the possibility of airway sloughing, pulmonary edema, hemorrhage, the sorts of things that you will see whenever you have a really rapid and superheated blast of air directed at your lungs. So that's pretty much the idea of blast injury in a nutshell. We're done for this episode of Behind the Ambu. We'll see you again next month.